Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission is one of my good friends and business partners and colleagues. This is Melissa Henry. You guys, welcome, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm super excited to have you here for so many different reasons. But first of all, thank you. I'm grateful to you for being my friend, for being a partner in business, for being a collaborator, for just being a badass and, picking up the phone when I need to talk with somebody, all those good things. You have been an amazing person in my life, and I love you, girl.
Oh, love you too. Mm.
So, you guys, we're doing something special. Melissa's going to be leading one of our expert collaborations, and this book is called "The Empowered Woman's Guide to Influence." Melissa has a massive vision. I'm going to ask her about it in just a minute, but she is the founder of Helluva Brand. She helps purpose-driven women entrepreneurs become recognized leaders. With 17 years as a business owner herself, she blends strategy, creativity, and intuition. She's known as the brand therapist. Her vibes framework builds authentic brands that elevate visibility, attract aligned opportunities, and expand women's wealth, influence, and legacy. So, Melissa, I want you to share a bit of the why behind the woman and behind this topic, the empowered woman's guide to influence. Tell me your why.
Oh my God, it's huge. I have kind of two things I want to discuss about that, but I think what I'll do is I'll start with my daughter. My daughter's 13 years old. She's in middle school now, and all I can think of sometimes about her is like, what is she going to be doing when she's out of high school? She should she even be going to college? All of these things, right? Because there's such a big unknown right now in the world. And I will touch on that in a minute because that has everything to do with the project that I'm doing here. But when I think about what can I personally do for her, it really comes down to showing her that she's still like she has power no matter what. Um, if she were able to instead of go to college, let's say she wanted to start a business, I want her to know that it's possible to do that because, I want her to see me as this example, let's say. And I think that in more than anything else is like a really important thing right now when we're facing all this uncertainty, because if you can create something from nothing, if you can help people solve problems, that's what entrepreneurs do, then you will always be okay. You will always be more than okay. And I want her to see that. I want her to increase her confidence around that, not look around and feel scared and uncertain about her future. And so that's really kind of a big part of why I'm doing this. But that's just in general, because that's just as an entrepreneur what I'm trying to model for her. But really, the bigger why and like how this all sort of coalesced happened over just this past year. And I'll just kind of give you a brief story here. When I woke up the day after the election, November 2024, I knew the answer. I knew what had happened before I even picked my phone up. And I guess I just intuitively knew. So when I looked at it and I saw what happened, I was like, okay, I don't even know how I'm going to get through today. But then I got out of bed because I had clients to go meet. And I kind of just really threw myself into my work that day. I didn't really look around. I didn't spend any time looking at the news or any of that. And by the end of the day, I felt so much better. And I sat with that and I was like, why do I feel better about this? It's normal. Like I work with my clients. What's so different about today? That's when I realized, I feel better today because I know that what I did helped good humans do good work for other humans. That's what it was. So I was like, okay, I get it. I know I'm more connected now to my purpose of what I do. But then we went through this whole year of absolute turmoil. I this is urgent because, our rights are being taken away. Like AI is expanding exponentially. I started to see wealth, the redistribution of wealth to the top 1%. And all of these things were coming together in this kind of soup. And I thought, well, oh my God, why all of this? Why all right now? Right. And so I really sat with it. I was looking at how all the dots were connected. I was reading a lot about these different sort of seemingly disparate things. And I realized there's a lot of systemic things behind it. And so um, that's when I said, oh my God, women entrepreneurs, we do have a lot of power. We're just not using it enough. And what if I could bring together a group of women entrepreneurs who could then support each other, who could help each other through all of the issues that go along with being an entrepreneur, who could, I don't know, like just be able to exponentially affect so many more women entrepreneurs as this collective, then we can start actually taking more of that power back. It's a massive imbalance of power across all of those things that I mentioned. And so, what if we could do that? I think the ripple effect of that would be huge. So, I was wrestling with this kind of all through 2025 because the idea behind this was still there. I was still kind of like working on this. I mean, you and I have talked about partnerships with people, and for a variety of reasons, the partnerships I was having up until that point, many of them, not all, but many of them just were sort of meh. They just weren't like moving the needle enough for me. And so then you and I had that conversation towards the end of December, and that's when it all sort of came together into one thing. And that's when you texted me and said, Melissa, the book, you got to have a book. And I was like, oh my God, the book about influence. That's what it is. And so that kind of became the final kind of piece in the puzzle for me, that this is what we get to do. We get to come together, help each other in whatever ways we need to do that. And I have many ideas on that. But we also get to write that collective book, like the seminal book on influence for specifically women entrepreneurs, so we can get this power back, so we can have more influence.
There's so many things I want to go off on here, but first, so the project that you're working on, the collective of women, it's actually more than a book project. And I know we're
Yeah.
here talking about this book project today, but do you want to just quickly say all what this is?
Yeah, so there's just multiple pieces of it, but essentially it is I don't even have a good word for it other than collective because I don't want people mistaking this for some generic mastermind. Like this isn't like a course or, a group program. What it is, and I've met some of these women already that I just know are the perfect fit for this. In fact, one I just talked to right before this call. And that these are women who get it and they're coming together to, let's say they have problems not problems, but like challenges in their business, things that they're starting to do now that they've never done before. Like you and I talked about this over the weekend, even like the idea of hiring your first person, like full time, or not necessarily full time, but like hiring your first employee, for example. What do I do with this? What are my thoughts and feelings about that? What's sort of like some of the tangible things I need to do to make it happen? That's what we're sharing. It could look like, hey, I really need help in this area or that. I trust you and I want to hire you. That could look like that. It could look like, hey, I really need to get more eyeballs on what I'm doing. Would you help me out? Like, could you help me promote this thing? Absolutely. Let's get on a call. Let's discuss this. Let's set it all up, right? So that's like another piece of it. The book, of course, is like the way I see that. That's another part of this collective is that we all are going to know each other so well that the book will be not a disparate collection of various chapters. It's going to be there's going to be a thread woven through all of it, and it's all going to connect in a way that truly makes it a guide for someone who wants to do more in their business and wants to have that power, wealth, and influence, right? There's other like things that I'm putting into this, like my own expertise when it comes to creating signature positioning for you, like helping you make yourself a category one in your space. There's we're going to be doing some master classes to the outside world. I want the women in this collective to teach those master classes and get more eyeballs on their stuff. So it's kind of a lot of those, pieces, but I don't want to throw features out there necessarily, but just to say this is way bigger than just some guru heading this up. No, I'm part of this with you. Like I want to be the like not the guru, but the collective member also. So it's more of like I'm just facilitating this. These women will they're going to feel it and they're going to know it's right. And when they do that, I'm not convincing anybody. I want the right people in the room.
Yes. Okay. So I hope you guys are feeling that passion and Melissa's why a little bit. I want to talk about my why too, but I really have to rewind to talking about kids. And when I was listening to you talk about your daughter, I've got one of those too. She's a bit older now, an adult who's already graduated college, but isn't quite sure what that impact and influence is going to be, where she's going to go with that. But I think the place that I got goosebumps was about, you know, if you can do something from nothing, you can do anything. Like
Yes.
if you can watch me, your mom, be a model for this freedom, life freedom, then you honestly can do anything. And I know you, like we look at our kids. I have a 25-year-old son as well, and I'm looking at both of them and I'm modeling this entrepreneurship thing every day. And
Yeah.
so they are probably some of my biggest whys in terms of how I show up every day. And what are they seeing? Are they seeing burned out mom? Are they seeing inspired mom? Are they seeing like anxious, self-sabotaging mom? Are they seeing somebody who's like jazzed about the people that she gets to work with every day, right? It's that one, if in
Yes.
case you guys were wondering.
Yes, right.
So well, that's a little bit of my why. And then I really want you guys to understand why expert collaborations, and lots of the world calls these books anthologies, but Brave Healer Productions doesn't publish anthology kinds of books. They publish expert collaborations on purpose, because when you come in as a co-author to Melissa's project, when you're in this collective, what's going to happen is we're going to help you craft your published piece of this work in a way that helps you build your own community and business. And we do it with experts through storytelling, but also something called the Brave Story Medicine method of publishing. More on that later. Okay. It's a long story, but that is what sets us apart, because we believe that writing, publishing, launching, and promoting yourself is a healing and self-development journey, y'all. It is, whether you have heard that or not. And so my why I can feel myself get excited just to talk to you guys about this today is that we're doing it differently. We're taking responsibility for the energy and how we show up in our publications. And we're going to pay forward to you all everything we've learned about that. And we're going to craft a book that you are so proud of, and you want to share with everybody, right? So
Yes.
that's a little bit of my why. But
Love that.
um, you know, you talked a little bit about this already. You're hoping to make a bigger impact in the world, your ripple with this collective.
Mhm.
Talk more about how you see that ripple happening. What else are you hoping to teach the world with this program, this book?
I've been really like thoughtful about it's interesting because I just had this conversation about what does it mean to be a thought leader, right? And I hear people talk about that, like, I want to be a thought leader, and I think to myself, do you really? Because do you know what it's going to take to do that? And and I'm seeing examples of this now that are coming out. Like I have friends who are on LinkedIn and they are standing up for things that they believe in and they're not backing down anymore. They're not um, quieting their voice because, well, it's the LinkedIn platform. I can't say what I really feel.
Mm.
And I'm seeing it more and more now. And I'm getting so jazzed up about that because that's what it means. It means, hey, we're in business. The world around us, we're not in a bubble. What's happening out there is also happening here. It is affecting us. So to me, this idea of bringing together this group, also what we're doing outwardly with our own clients, with our own audiences, etc., is that we're opening people's mouths now to be able to speak their truth, what they really believe in, not be afraid of that anymore, right? And hey, they don't all need to be thought leaders. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we as women are so much more powerful than we ever even give ourselves credit for. And that's because over the course of history, we've literally and figuratively been shut up, and we're not going to do that anymore. So that's why I'm so glad to see that happening around me. That's why I've been different in the way that I'm showing up. I actually haven't been showing up as much on social. I'm prepared to do that soon, but I've been focused more on my newsletter list and really giving them like my uncensored thoughts about how we're going to do this as women entrepreneurs specifically. So I feel like I've gone a little bit all over the place, but um, that's really what I think the ripple effect really is. It's like if you start to see other people saying their like speaking their mind, and you like you lose your fear of doing so because now you're like, oh, someone else feels the same way that I do. And now I know that they're going to back me up when I have something to say. Because I think that's reason why people don't speak up. They just think, well, if I say something, I'll get in trouble. Or if I say something, someone's going to hate me. You know what? When you have a hater, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for a lot of reasons. But there's no, yes, we can all be afraid right now. That's true. There's a lot of real things to be afraid of. Um, but not this, not speaking the truth. The truth needs to be out there more. And that's what I think is going to happen.
Some of the fears you're talking about, I call them purpose driven fear. And this is how we're publishing as well, because, putting your words down on paper, like in your journal, is one level of brave story medicine. But popping all the way to steps 4 and 5, where you're publishing and then speaking at a microphone, this gets a
Hmm.
lot more scary for people.
Yes.
But when you do it, when you're brave, and it's time to be brave, especially women, you change the world, and you give other people permission to also be brave. And so that's why I love how Melissa and I are coming together for this project, because we've got similar missions there that just superpower whatever you all are working on. And
Mm.
so specifically now, I want you guys to understand what you're doing in one of our expert collaborative book projects. You are going to be crafting a chapter that is part authentic, real, vulnerable story to help us get to know, love, and trust you. And then you are going to be crafting a tool or strategy section where you get to teach other women how to impact the world, how to show up for their own vision, how to gain visibility and influence. And this book, Melissa, The Empowered Woman's Guide to Influence, right? So if you're listening, that's your jam. You're like, hell yes, like this is what I do too. Like I want to be part, right? That's what we want. That's how we want you to be feeling about this topic. And
Yes.
wouldn't it have been cool if you guys think about the beginning of your business, the beginning of your journey, if you had a team of experts on your side, a team of coaches, a team of people, a community, in this case, led by Melissa, that was there for you to answer a question or comment on what the tool is or get you on the right like, oh my gosh, your whole journey would be catapulted. And that's what we're creating in the books. So this
Yes.
is exactly what you would be a part of for just this one piece of Melissa's collective, because my part's the book part. Like she's
Yeah.
going to wrap up all the other stuff she talked about too.
Yeah.
Melissa, what's the most important thing that you want the world to know about empowered women?
Well, I would say that and I've sort of said this already, um, we've always had the power. Like we've always had power, right? It's just that, I mean, if you look back across history, like the ways that we've been shut up, right? I've mentioned that before. Um, it, Whenever we do get together as a group of women in a way that is uplifting to each other. I've seen it happen over and over again in various groups that I've been in, or like showing up at events and things where there's women present. We just really know how to connect deeper, faster. And I think that is in part a massive power we have that we just take for granted, right? We just like, that's just who we are. Yeah, but man, when you can get connected with people that much faster, you get to do more with them because there's a lot more trust that gets built. Um, we're we're naturally better collaborators. I'm sorry, I don't want to like turn any men off because I don't like to vilify men at all. It's not what it's about. It's just what are sort of the natural things that women have as part of their being. Their don't know if it's hormonal, don't know if it's brain related. I don't know all the things, right? But that's where our power is. And so that's what I would say is that um, I want to demonstrate that. I want to model that. I want women around me that do that. I want us all, whenever we're getting together, to think about each other and to live into those um, natural tendencies that we all have, because that's where the power is, right there.
You have me thinking about my intuition like several times so far talking to you, because I feel like that is a superpower across the board, of course, in men and women. Women, I believe, naturally trust their own intuition very more quickly, but we've kind of been shut up out of that too. Like we've been
Yep.
trained to not listen. Now we're coming back into our power because we are trusting that, and that is a magical superpower.
Yes.
So that's just one thing you're making me think of. Okay, I want to wrap up with this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, as you said, the world is a very interesting place to be right now, and some women might be listening today and they're not in a happy place about things. Things are really chaotic and scary. What are your last words of encouragement today for
Mm.
us?
Mm. I've been there. I this whole last year. I mean, like if I let myself, and I'm gonna get emotional if I'm not too careful. If I let myself think about that, then yeah, I remember feeling like that too. It still comes up. So I'd say that my last words on that is just know you're not alone. Know that you have like all you need to do is reach out to somebody that feels similarly to you. Like I know someone, one of my really good friends, lives in a part of the country where she looks around and literally the people around in her neighborhood even, they don't feel like she does. They're not seeing what she's seeing. So I think she does feel a little bit like isolated there, but she's purposefully reaching out to other groups and going to events and meeting other people that are outside of that neighborhood, right? So we all have that ability to do that. And I mean, if anyone's listening and they just feel like they want to talk to me about it, please, like I'll give you information on how to at the end of this on how to reach me. But that's what I would say. It's not like you can't do this alone. None of us can do this alone. I'm seeing things out there again. Not to, like I want to actually like say one really quick thing here. This isn't all political. Like none of this to me is politics. Is actually humanity. It's actually being able to treat each other humanely, right? That's the biggest thing for me. And it's also just like, do we want to have freedom? Like, is that really what we believe in? Because that's what is at stake for me. So anyway, I hope I kind of I hope I answered the question appropriately, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, you're not alone. Reach out, and
Yes.
I'm going to comment that on that specifically in just a moment. But Melissa, someone's listening today. They are a woman of rising influence. They are interested in the collective and being part of your community, part of this beautiful published book that we're going to be creating together. How do you want them to get together with you?
Okay, well, I just want to point out that there's actually two paths to this book. So one of them is within the collective, which gives you the sort of broader community there. The other one is just to do the book by itself, but there's other things that are going to be a part of that group as well. Those two groups will meet each other. So there's still going to be that sort of community collective thing happening. So no matter which way you feel, like if you feel like you want to dive deeper, I've got that. If you feel you still want to be a part of the book, but maybe, for whatever reason can't really be part of the collective this year, totally fine. So two ways. The best way to get a hold of me is either to, go to, there's going to be a link below this to book a call with me directly. And that, my friends, is like completely no pressure. I just want to meet you. And that's really all it is. And then if it turns out later as we talk together that maybe that you're a good fit for one or the other of those paths, then that'll be another call. So no pressure there. But then the other way is also to just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think that, you'll have a link for that as well under here. So either direction, just connect with me and, let's make this happen.
Melissa, Henry, thank you so much for being one of my best friends and business partners. Thanks for what you do in the world, for uplifting women, for having the inspiration for this project. Thanks for being here today, girl.
Of course. Thank you so much, my friend.
So, you guys, the Brave Healer community is a really generous, safe space for our listeners, but it's also a place to find opportunities to shout out who you are and what you do in the world in a much bigger way. So, if today's topic resonates and you think you have a perfect contribution to this collective, to the Empowered Woman's Guide to Influence, connect with me or Melissa. The information is down below. We can have a chat. You're going to find all the links. We can't wait to talk with you and get to know you better. We know you're ready to become a published author in one of our best-selling expert book collaborations. We can't wait to chat about helping you leave your legacy. Books are a legacy business, you guys. Lastly, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.